Turn this down here. All right. Members of the Council on Foreign Relations. There are two types of Council on Foreign Relations membership: life and term membership, which lasts for 5 years and is available to those between the ages of 30 and 36 at the time of their application. So it cuts off at 36. If you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way to 36, it will get you 666. That just popped into my head. Only U.S. citizens, native-born or naturalized, and permanent residents who have applied for U.S. citizenship are eligible. A candidate for life membership must be nominated in writing by one council member and seconded by a minimum of 3 others, strongly encouraged to be other CFR members. Corporate membership, 250 in total, is divided into 3 levels. Founders, $100,000 level, President Circle, $60,000 level, and affiliates, $30,000 level. All corporate executive members have opportunities to hear distinguished speakers such as overseas presidents and prime ministers, chairmen and CEOs of multinational corporations, and U.S. officials and congressmen. President Circle and founders are also entitled to other benefits. So President Circle and founders are also entitled to other benefits, including attendance at small private dinners or receptions with senior American officials and world leaders. Oh. Now, this is the board of directors. The board of directors on the Council on Foreign Relations is composed in a total of 36 officers. So there's that 36 again. Once again, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way to 36, it will get you 666. Peter Peterson and David Rockefeller are directors, emitary chairman, emeritus on honorary chairman, respectively. It also has an international advisory board consisting of 35 distinguished individuals from across the world. Co-chairman of the board is Carla Hills. Co-chairman of the board is Robert Rubin. Vice chairman is Richard Solomon. President is Richard Haas. All right, we have John Abiziade, former Commander-in-Chief, United States Central Command. Commander-in-Chief, John Abiziade, Commander-in-Chief of the founder, International Center on Nonviolent Conflict, Peter Ackerman. Faoud Ajami, Professor in Middle East Studies, Johns Hopkins University. Madeleine K. Albright, former Secretary of State. Henry S. Benin, former President, Northwestern University. Alan Blinder, Economics Professor, Princeton University. Mary Boyes, Managing Partner at Boyes and McInnes. David G. Bradley, Chairman, Atlantic Media Company. Tom Brokaw, former editor, NBC Nightly News. Wow. Sylvia Matthews and Sylvia Matthews Burwell, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Kenneth M. Duberstein, former White House Chief of Staff. Martin Feldson, economics professor at Harvard. Stephen Friedman, Chairman, Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board. Ann Fudge, CEO, Young Rubicam. Pam Gahn, President, Claremont McKenna College. J. Tomlinson Hill, Vice Chairman, the Blackstone Group. Oh. Donna Harank, former U.S. diplomat. Alberto E. Bargwin, John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. Shirley Jackson, the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Henry Kravis, co-founder, Kohlberg, Kravis, Roberts & Co. Jamie Mizkick. Jamie Mizkick, former Deputy Director for Intelligence. Joseph Nye, Jr., Kennedy School of Government. James W. Owens, former chairman, Caterpillar. Oh, Caterpillar. I'm invested in Caterpillar. Peter Peterson, chairman, Peter G. Peterson Foundation. A lot of these foundations is how they move money around, ladies and gentlemen. Former Secretary of State, Colin L. Powell, former Secretary of State, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Colin Powell. Penny Pritzker, CEO, Pritzker Realty. David Rubenstein, the Carlyle Group. George Eric Roop, President, International Rescue Committee. Frederick Smith, FedEx CEO. Joan Spurlow. Joan Spurlow, former ambassador. Vin Weber, CEO, Clark and Weinstock. Christine Todd, former governor of New Jersey, former administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. Fareed Zakari, editor-at-large, Time. Corporate membership. CFR has several levels of corporate membership: founders, premium members, and associates. As of 7 June 2013, members were Broadview Group, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Chevron Corporation, ExxonMobil, Goldman Sachs, Hess Corporation, J.P. Morgan Chase & Co., McKinsey and Company, NASDAQ OMX Group, President Circle, Alcoa, American Express, Barclays, BlackRock. Yeah, I was looking into BlackRock a lot. And by the way, after all those hurricanes, their stock went way up. Bloomberg, BP, Bridgewater Associates, California Technologies, CA Technologies, Citigroup, Coca-Cola Company, Credit Suisse, Dell, Deutsche Bank, DynCorp, Eni, Fortress Investment Group, Golden Tree, Guardsmark, Kingdon Capital Investment, Kohlberg Kravis Roberts Co., Lazard, Lockheed Martin, Mars Incorporated, McGraw Hill, MetLife, Moody's, Morgan Stanley, New Media Investments, NRG Energy, Parsons Corporation, Reliance Industries Limited, Shell Oil Company, Soros Fund Management, Standard Chartered Bank, Toyota Motor North America, Veritas, Premium Members, Ace Limited, Airbus, Allied World Assurance Company, American International Group, Angelo America, PLC, Apollo Management, LP, Aramco Services Company, Arevia, Inc., Arnhold and S. Bly Roeder Holdings, Arnold & Porter, American Telephone and Telegraph, Baker, Nye Advisories, Baldwin Gottschalk, Bank of New York Mellon Corporation, BASF Corporation, Bingham McClellan, Blackstone, Boeing, Booz Allen Hamilton, Bunge, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Caterpillar, Caxton Associates, Cigna, Cisneros Group of Companies, SIT Group, Clearly Gottlieb, Steen and Hamilton. Clearly Gottlieb, that's the guy that I read last night. He was Gottlieb, has the same name that was in MK Ultra. Clearly Gottlieb, Steen and Hamilton. CNA Financial Corporation, ConocoPhillips, Continental, Control Risks, Corsar, Covington and Burling, Craig Drill Capital Corporation, Credit Agricole Corporate and Investment Bank, Deere and Company, Deloitte, Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, Duke Energy Corporation, Premium Members, Economist, Intelligence Unit, Elderman Financial Field, Energy Intelligence Group, Equinox Partners, Estee Lauder, Expedia, FedEx, Freeport McMoran Copper and Gold, Future Pipe Industries, General Atlantic, General Electric, Gibson Dunn and Crutcher, GlaxoSmithKline. That they're big into the medical field and the damn pills and shit like this. Google, Granite Associates, Greenberg Traurig, Hitachi, Houlihan Hockey, IBM, Indus Capital Partners, Investment Corp International, Invus Group, ITOCHU International, Atochu International, Jacobs Assessment Management, McAndrews and Forbes Holdings, Mannheim, Marsh & McLennan Companies, Marubeni America Corporation, MBIA Insurance, Mead West Vaco Corporation, Mercantil Servicios Financials or whatever, Merrick & Co., Microsoft, Milbank, Tweed, and Hadley and McCloy, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries America, Mitsubishi & Co., More Capital, News Corporation, Northern Trust, Northrop Grumman, NYSE, Euronext, Occidental Petroleum Corporation, Oleon Group, Palantir Technologies, PepsiCo, Pfizer, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Prudential, Raytheon, Rothschild North America, Salesforce, Sandalwood Securities, Sigurd Guff and Company, Silver Lake Partners, Simpson, Thatch and Bartlett, Sony, Standard & Poor's, Sullivan and Cromwell, T. Rowe Price, Tata, Telefonica Internacional, USA, Thiel, like Peter Thiel, Thiel Capital, Thomson Reuters, TIAA-CREF, Tia Creef, Time Warner, Tishman Speyer Properties, Total SA, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, UBS AG, Volkswagen, Vernando Realty Trust, Walmart, Warburg Pincus, Western Union, WPP, Wyoming Investment, Xerox Corporation, Ziff Brothers Investments, Zurich Insurance Group, Associates, AARP, Banca di Italy, Hemispheric Partners, Japan Bank for International Cooperation, Oxford Atlantica, Noble Council members, Roger Ailes, Fox News, Madeleine Albright, 64th United States Secretary of State, 20th United States Ambassador to the UN under Bill Clinton, Lamar Alexander, Governor of Tennessee, Republican Senator, Elliot Abrams, international lawyer, former State Department official under Ronald Reagan, George Bush. Morton I. Abramowitz, diplomat. John Abiziadad, U.S. Army general, former head of CENTCOM. Michael F. Adams, president of University of Georgia. John B. Anderson, former Republican independent congressman from Illinois. Anthony Clark Arend, international lawyer and academic. Fayud Ajami, academic, Middle East analyst. Bruce Babbitt, 16th governor of Arizona. 47th United States Secretary of Interior under Clinton, Howard Baker, Senate Majority Leader, and the 12th White House Chief of Staff under Ronald Reagan. Husband of Nancy Cosbaum Baker, James Baker. Got the Bakers up in there. And the Baker was Secretary of State under Bush, 67 Secretary of Treasury under Reagan, and 10th and 16th White House Chief of Staff to Reagan and Bush. Thurbert Baker, former Democratic Party Attorney General of State of Georgia. Michael D. Barnes, former United States Democratic Congressman from Maryland and President of the Brady Campaign. We have Kara Barnett, Executive Director of American Ballet Theater, former Director of Lincoln Center. Charlene Bar-Sheath-Sky, former United States Trade Representative. Evan Bayh, he's a Democratic U.S. Senator and the Governor of Indiana. Peter Bergen, journalist, national security analyst for CNN. Nicholas Berggren, founder Berggren Institute. Joe Biden. Joe Biden's name also came up on the MK Ultra last night when I was reading. 47th Vice President of the United States. Josh Bolton, 22nd White House Chief of Staff under Bush. Rudy Boschwitz, Republican United States Senator from Minnesota. Sandy Bergner, NSA, National Security Advisor under Clinton. Warren Beatty, actor, film producer, director. Peter Bernard, academic, columnist. Howard Berman, Democratic Party United States Congressman from California. Jeffrey Boots, President of Time Warner. Stephen Biddle, theorist setting U.S. counterinsurgency policy. Sanford Bishop, Democratic Party United States Congressman from Georgia. Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, founder of Bloomberg. Max Boot, military historian and foreign policy expert. David Boren, Democratic Senator from Oklahoma, President of the University of Oklahoma. Bill Bradley, a Democratic Senator from Jersey, NBA Hall of Fame basketball player. Lal Bernard, Undersecretary of the Treasury for International Affairs, wife of Kurt Campbell. Richard Branson, from Virgin Group. L. Paul Bremer, diplomat. Ian Bremer, Eurasia Group, founder and president. Stephen Gerard Bayer, United States Supreme Court Justice. Bill Brock, 50th Chairman of the Republican Party, 8th U.S. Trade Ambassador, and 18th United States Secretary of Labor under Ronald Reagan, former Republican United States Senator from Tennessee. Dan Burton, former Republican Party United States Congressman from Indiana. Aaron Burnett, journalist, CNN anchor. George H.W. Bush, 41st President of the United States. Tom Brokaw, NBC journalist. Edgar Brofman, Sr., member of Brofman Dynasty, President of the World Jewish Congress. Ethan Broner, Deputy Foreign Editor of the New York Times. Zygmunt Brzezinski, 10th United States National Security Advisor under Jimmy Carter. Jonathan Bush, healthcare CEO, son of Jonathan Bush, brother of NBC entertainment reporter Billy Bush. Craig Calhoun, President of Bergen Institute, Director of the London School of Economics. Kurt Campbell, Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, husband, Lowell Brainard. Frank Carlucci, 16th Secretary of Defense, 15th United States National Security Advisor under Reagan, and the Deputy Director of the CIA under Jimmy Carter, the 39th President. Kerry Kavanaugh, diplomat and professor. Juju Chang, journalist, reporter for ABC News. Dick Cheney, 46th Vice President of the United States. Henry Cisneros, United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under Clinton. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. George Clooney, actor, director, screenwriter, United Nations Messenger of Peace. Stephen Cohen, Russian Studies, NYU, husband of Katrina Vanden Heuvel. Russian Studies, Stephen Cohen. Katie Couric, former CBS NBC journalist, talk show host. Edward F. Cox, international attorney, chairman of the New York Republican Party, son-in-law of Richard Nixon. Michael Crow, president of Arizona State University. Mario Cuomo, Democratic politician, 52nd governor of New York. Mario Cuomo. And then you know the other Cuomo, that's on CNN. William M. Daley, 24th White House Chief of Staff under Obama, 32nd Secretary of Commerce under Clinton. Catherine Wasserman Davis, American philanthropist. Kenneth Duberstein, 13th Chief of Staff under Reagan. Penny Delaney, 4th child of David Rockefeller. Joseph Duffy, academic, educator. Chris Todd, United States Senator from Connecticut, former. Thomas Donahue, former Secretary, Treasury of the AFL-CIO. William Donaldson, former Chairman of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Michael Dukakis, 65th and 67th Governor of Massachusetts, 1988 Democratic Party nominee for presidency. Mervyn Damali, former Democratic Congressman from California. James Dole, journalist, activist. Jesse Dillon, film director. Esther Dyson, philanthropist, technology analyst, daughter of Freeman Dyson. John Edwards, Democratic U.S. Senator from North Carolina, 2004, Democratic Vice Presidential nominee. Carl Eckenberry, United States Army General, former ambassador to Afghanistan. Ari Emanuel, head of Endeavor Agency. Luigi R. NDI, or whatever, former Secretary General of the Organization of American States. Mallory Factor, academic, banker, conservative activist. Roger W. Ferguson Jr., former Vice Chairman of the Federal Reserve. Noah Feldman, academic and author. Dianne Feinstein, United States Democratic Party Senator from California. Bernard Ferrari, Dean, Johns Hopkins University Carey Business School. John Fitzgibbons, an American businessman and philanthropist. Donald Frazier, Democratic United States Congressman from Minnesota. Bill Frist, Republican politician, former United States Senate Majority Leader of the United States Senate. Mikhail Friedman, Russian oligarch, International Advisory Board member. Thomas Friedman, columnist for the New York Times. Martin Feldstein, economics Harvard professor. Tom Foley, 57th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Francis Fukuyama, political scientist for State Department official. Pamela Gahn, president of Claremont McKenna College, former dean of Duke University School of Law. Robert Gates, 22nd United States Secretary of Defense under Bush and Obama, 15th Director of Central Intelligence under George Bush. Robert P. George, academic, professor at Princeton University, theologian, philosopher. David Geffen, president of Universal Music Group. Leslie Gelb, former journalist of the New York Times. Dick Gephardt, 22nd Majority Leader of the United States House of Representatives. Sam Getchelson, former Democratic Party United States Congressman from Connecticut. Jim Gilmore, 68th Governor of Virginia. Biana Golodriga, journalist. Alan Greenspan, 13th Chairman of the Federal Reserve. Maurice Greenberg, former Chairman and CEO of AIG. Bob Graham, Democratic Party, 38th Governor of Florida, United States Senator. Janet G. Mullins Grissom, Republican lobbyist, former State Department official. Timothy Geithner, 75th Secretary of Treasury under Obama, 9th President of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. David Gergen, advisory to Richard Nixon, Gerald R. Ford, Ronald Reagan, and Bill Clinton, commentator for CNN. Peter Goldmark Jr., former CEO of New York Port Authority, president of Rockefeller Foundation, publisher of International Herald Tribune. Mikhail Gorbachev, former president of the USSR. Roy Goodman, former Republican member of the New York State Senate. Roy Goodman, Republican member of the New York State Senate. Porter Goss, former Republican congressman from Florida, 19th Director of Central Intelligence Agency under George Bush. Newt Gingrich, 58th Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, United States Supreme Court Justice. Tenzin Gyatso, 14th Dalai Lama. Richard Haas, former State Department official. David A. Harris, Director of the American Jewish Committee. Lee Hamilton, former United States Democratic Congressman from Indiana. Michael Hayden, United States Air Force General, 15th Director of National Security Agency under Bill Clinton, 20th Director of the CIA under George W. Bush. Gary Hart, former Democratic U.S. Senator from Colorado, Council for a Livable World Chairman. Advisory Board member for the Partnership for a Secure America. Heather Higgins, women's advocate, chairman of the Independent Women's Forum, president of the Randolph Foundation. Chris Hines, heir to the H.J. Heinz Company ketchup fortune. Leo Hindry, businessman, philanthropist. Carla Anderson Hills, 5th United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under Gerald Ford, 10th United States Trade Representative to George H.W. Bush. Dean R. Hinton, former diplomat. Kim Holmes, foreign policy and defense expert. Douglas Holtz Eakin, economist. Orrin Hoffman, investor, entrepreneur. Warren Hodge, American journalist, formerly of the New York Times. Malcolm Holine, vice chairman of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Katrina Vandal Hovell, editor of The Nation, wife of Stephen Cohn, daughter of William Vandal Hovell. William Vandal Hovell, diplomat, international lawyer, father of Katrina Vanden Heuvel. Frederick Eisman, businessman, inventor. Angelina Jolie, actress, UN Goodwill Ambassador. Vernon Jordan, advisory to President Bill Clinton. Nancy Johnson, former Republican United States Congresswoman from Connecticut. Woody Johnson, investor, owner of New York Jets, heir to Johnson & Johnson. Sheila Johnson, businesswoman, president of the Washington Mystics. Walter Consteiner. Walter H. Consteiner, III, American diplomat. Peter J. Katzenstein, political scientist, academic. Robert Kagan, co-founded Project for the New American Century. Nancy Kassenbaum, former Republican senator from Kansas, daughter of Alf Landon and wife of Howard Baker. Thomas Keane Sr., Republican politician, 48th Governor of New Jersey. John Kerry, former United States Senator from Massachusetts, 68th United States Secretary of State under Barack Obama. 2004 Democratic Party nominee for the presidency. Vanessa Carey, Doctor of Medicine, liberal activist, daughter of John Kerry. Raymond Kelly, former police commissioner of the NYPD. Henry Kissinger, 8th National Security Advisor under Nixon, 56th United States Secretary of State under Nixon and Ford. Joe Klein, Time Magazine columnist. Richard Kogan, CEO of Sharing Plow from 96 to 2003, board member of Colgate-Palmolive and the Bank of New York Mellon. Paul R. Krugman, economist, columnist for the New York Times. Anil Kumar, businessman, former senior partner at McKinsey. Charles Krauthammer, columnist for the Washington Post and political commentator on Fox News. Zalmay Khalilzad, or whatever. Zalmay Khalilzad, 26th ambassador to the United Nations under Bush. Philip Lauder, diplomat, chairman of WPP Group. Richard W. Richard Lariviere, scholar, president of the University of Oregon. Jim Leach, former Republican United States Congressman from Iowa, chairman of the National Endowment for Humanities under Obama. John Robert Lewis, Democratic United States Congressman from the state of Georgia, famed civil rights leader. Jim Lauer, journalist, former anchor of PBS. Joe Lieberman, the senator from Connecticut. Louis Libby, attorney, former chief of staff to Vice President Dick Cheney. Herbert London, academic conservative activist, former dean of Gallatin School of Individualized Study. Nigel Lifego, television producer. Fred Malik, businessman, former president of Marriott Hotels and Northwest Airlines. David Malpass, economist, Republican Party politician. John McCain, United States Republican senator from Arizona, 2008 Republican Party nominee for the presidency. Bud McFarlane, 13th National Security Advisor to Reagan. William Green Miller, United States ambassador to Ukraine under Clinton. George J. Mitchell, 17th Senate Majority Leader of the United States Senate. Walter Mondale, 42nd Vice President of the United States. Robert Mosbacher Jr., businessman, son of Robert Mosbacher. Les Moonves, President and Chief Executive Officer of CBS. Bill Moyers, former press secretary to Lyndon Johnson, public commentator for PBS. Langhorne A. Motley, former diplomat and State Department official. Langhorne. David Mulford, United States Ambassador to India, current Vice Chairman, International Credit Suisse. Rupert Murdoch, founder, chairman, CEO of News Corp and Fox News. Heather Nart, journalist and anchor at Fox News. Janet Napolitano, 3rd United States Secretary of Homeland Security under Obama, 21st Governor of Arizona. John D. Negroponte, former United States Deputy Secretary of State and former Director of National Intelligence under Bush. Joseph Nye, academic. Sandra Day O'Connor, former United States Supreme Court Justice. Stan O'Neill, former Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board of Merrill Lynch. Robert Pastor, National Security Advisor, son-in-law to Robert McNamara. George Pataki, Republican politician. George Pataki, Republican politician, 53rd Governor of New York. Henry Paulson, 74th United States Treasury Secretary under Bush. Christina Paxton, 9th President, Brown University. David Petraeus, United States Army General, former head of CENTCOM, 22nd Director of the CIA. Peter G. Peterson, there's the Peter, 20th United States Secretary of Commerce under Nixon. Steve Pachenik, former State Department official, 9/11 conspiracy theorist. Steve Pachenik, former State Department official, 9/11 conspiracy theorist. Kitty Pilgrim, journalist and anchor on CNN. Richard Pipes, academic, founder, director of Middle East Forum, Daniel Pipes, academic, writer, historian, son of Richard Pipes. Norman Podhoretz, former editor-in-chief of Commentary, senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, Project for the New American Century, Red Flags, PNAC signatory. Steve Posner, California businessman and Republican politician. Roman Popaduk, former United States ambassador to Ukraine, executive director of the George Bush Presidential Library Foundation. Arturo C. Kornatsky, Wall Street economist and university professor. Colin Powell, 65th United States Secretary of State under Bush, 16th National Security Advisor under Reagan, 12th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under Bush. Tom Petrie, Republican United States Congressman from Wisconsin. Priscilla Presley, actress and former chairwoman of the board of Elvis Presley Enterprises. Charles Prince, former Chief Executive Officer of Citigroup. Jennifer Robb, President of Hunter College. Janet Reno, 78th United States Attorney General under Clinton. Condoleezza Rice, 66th United States Secretary of State under Bush. Dan Rather, journalist, former anchor of CBS. Charles Rangel, United States Democratic Congressman from New York City. Alice Rivlin, economist, former U.S. Cabinet member. David Rockefeller Jr., John D. Rockefeller, United States Democratic Party Senator of West Virginia, 29th Governor of West Virginia. Charlie Rose, PBS journalist and The Early Show anchor. Liz Rosenberg, novelist, poet, columnist for the Boston Globe. Chuck Robb, 64th Governor of Virginia, former Democratic Party U.S. Senator from Virginia, son-in-law of Lyndon B. Johnson. Edward Regan, former State Comptroller of New York. Robert Rubin, 70th Secretary of Treasury under Clinton. Haim Sabin, founder of Sabin Capital Group. Jeffrey D. Sachs, American economist. Diane Sawyer, ABC news journalist. This is getting long. Stephen Schwebwell, jurist, former judge of the International Court of Justice. Michael Schiffner, Academic President of Inter-American Dialogue. Dan Senor, American Foreign Policy Advisor to George Bush, former Fox News foreign policy analyst. Timothy Shales, Bloomberg. Timothy Shriver, Special Olympics. Nancy Sodenberg, the UN ambassador. David Stern, commissioner at NBA. John Spratt, former Democratic United States Congressman from South Carolina. Karina Gore Schiff, daughter of Al Gore. Olympia J. Snow, former Republican United States Senator from Maine. Brent Snowcroft, 9th and 17th United States National Security Advisor under Presidents Gerald Ford and George H.W. Bush. George Shultz, 60th United States Secretary of State under Reagan, 62nd United States Secretary of the Treasury, and 11th United States Secretary of Labor under Richard Nixon. Frederick W. Smith, CEO and founder of FedEx. Andrew Ross Sorkin, business journalist for New York Times and CNBC. Walter B. Slocum, former Undersecretary of Defense for Policy. George Soros, currency speculator, investor, businessman. Leslie Stolle, CBS journalist. Donna Shalwala, United States Secretary of Health and Human Services under Bill Clinton, president of the University of Miami. Edward Shevardnadze, or whatever, second president of Georgia. Eric Shinseki, 7th United States Secretary of Veteran Affairs under Obama, 34th Chief of Staff of the United States Army under Clinton and Bush. Adali Stevenson III, former Democratic United States Senator from Illinois, son of this guy, George Stephanopoulos. Lawrence Silberman, Robert Silvers, Stanford Turner, Doug Turner. The CIA under Jimmy Carter, that's the Stansfield Turner. Doug Turner, the governor of Pennsylvania. We have Goldman Sachs, the Thornton. We have Townsend, a Homeland Security Advisor. We have the governor of Maryland, Kennedy Townsend, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend. Tom Viselak, the governor of Iowa. Paul Blocker, Federal Reserve. Peter J. Wilson, former lawyer to Nelson Rockefeller. White House counsel. Barbara Walters, ABC journalist. Vin Weber, congressman from Minnesota. Stephen Weinberg, American physicist. Julian Glover, lobbyist. Environmental Protection Agency. Christine Todd Whitman. Shirley Williams, International Board diplomat. Republican Party. Richard S. Williamson. James Wolfenstein, Paul Wolfowitz. James Woolsey, the Central Intelligence under Bill Clinton. Dov S. Zalkim, academic and Deladi. Paula Zahn. James Zogby. Robert Zolik, World Bank. We got the Gelbs, Greenbergs, Peterson, Rockefellers. Agar, the physicist, just all this. Look. Look. Alan Dulles. Herbert Hoover. Jack Kemp. Ivy Lee. John McCloy. McNamara. Richard Nixon. David Rockefeller. Rosenberg. Rostow. Rusk. Rybakov. Roth. Slagan. Schaffner. Snow. Silver. Tablet. Temple. Ungar. Vance. Walters. John Wheeler. Whitehead. John Temple Swing.